Welcome to another Fact or Fiction Friday. I am the guinea pig, Christopher McKell. He is the Professor Jason Parsons. And today, we're talking about something I have no idea what it is. This clean eating concept, which I've never really looked into. I just know hashtag clean eating and stuff all over social media, and you gotta eat clean because it's great for you, it's the only way to go. So, today's phrase, you have to eat clean to lose fat. I can tell you what, I definitely don't eat clean, and I lost a lot of fat. But I'll let Jason explain the ins and outs of this concept.
First off, as I like to typically do, let's go ahead and define some terms here so it makes sense for everybody. When we talk about clean foods, we're talking about foods that have recently taken a shower, preferably put on some deodorant, and have a clean record with the police. Now, what is this clean eating? I don't understand that. I'm just joking, of course. What is clean food? I mean, we hear it a lot, and as you said, social media, it's all over the place, especially on Instagram. It's really funny. People put pictures on there. Look at my clean food. And, like
Well, last week we talked about getting that baking soda to clean your vegetables.
Oh,
is that
true.
clean food?
That last video we did talk about that. That's actually clean food. In that case, you get the pesticides off. But most people, when they talk about clean food, what I'm going to assume they're talking about is like whole foods versus like processed food. Something in a box or a can over here, maybe fast food in a drive-through versus like fresh fruits and vegetables and lean proteins from animal sources that are more recently alive. I'm guessing that's what they're talking about. I've really had anybody define it, but that's what we're going to go with today, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So, some important things to understand here, and we'll make sure to focus on this, is losing fat, right? So, clean food for losing fat. First of all, you don't have to do anything, so let's go ahead and ignore that part here. But when we talk about these less processed foods versus more processed foods, that's our dynamic of dirty food versus clean food. The reality is, if you want to lose fat, as we've said many times in our videos and talked about over and over again in social media, it's all about calories in versus calories out. To be larger, to have a bigger body, you have to have more stuff going in your face than you're using through the course of the day with calories out. That's how you become a larger person, whether that be a larger muscular person, larger fat person, or somewhere in the middle. Either way, that's what it works. To do the opposite, to lose fat, you've got to consume less with calories in and have more calories out through activity and lifestyle and stuff like that. It's a simple equation, right? The equation, the math is very simplistic. There's a lot of stuff that feeds into that. Haha, get it? Yeah. Anyway. So you do want to take into consideration when you're eating, what the food types are from a macronutrient standpoint, how much you're consuming, all those things factor into it. There's a lot of stuff going on in your very complex body with your nutrition, but ultimately, from a physics standpoint, it's calories in versus calories out. Plain and simple. That's how you lose fat, not the relative cleanliness of your food. So, interestingly enough, recently, a couple months ago, there was the largest study of its kind ever done in nutrition. There was over 600 participants in a year-long study. It's just this well put together study that gave us a wealth of information that's really helped to redefine what's going on in the nutrition field around the world. And in this study, what they did is they kept calories the same and protein the same. So calories and protein were equated for all these people. And what they did was two different sides of the spectrum. They had a low fat versus a low carb, right? This is the big battle out there. There's all kinds of books and diets, all kinds of stuff out there that says low carb is best. No, have more fat. And so there's all these battles going on. This giant study pretty much sealed the deal, closed the door on the argument that one is better than the other, because it shows pretty much across the board that these end up giving the exact same results. Ultimately, it's about calories in versus calories out. How you get to that standing of calories in versus calories out is up to you, the individual, right? If you find that you get by better with low carb and you can do that, no problem, hey, go for that. Have more fat in your diet, low carbs, you're good to go. Other people function better with a little bit more carbohydrates if they use that because of their activity, their exercise type, strength athletes, things like that, and not as much fat. But it's up to the individual, because empirically, from data, from science, the largest study ever done, there's no difference over here. It comes back to calories in versus calories out. Now, again, when we look at that spectrum of clean, whole foods over here and processed, dirty foods over here, we can also talk about nutrient deficiencies. I think there's this misrepresentation or misunderstanding in population that if you eat processed foods out of a can, out of a box, or you got something over Wendy's or McDonald's, that you're nutrient deficient, right? Nutrient, and you've probably all seen those nutrient labels on the side of a container of food. It says nutrition facts, and it starts with calories, and it has proteins, carbs, and fats. And then it has all these things like vitamins and minerals in them. The macronutrients, macro meaning big, proteins, carbs, and fats. Those are the big pieces, the constituents of your food, the most important ones that comprise your calories. And then underneath the micronutrients, your vitamins and minerals, those are the smaller, maybe not as important pieces. The reality is the Center for Disease Control in the United States of America has said that 90% of Americans are getting more than enough of the micronutrients they need. And they're definitely getting enough of the macronutrients, because as a whole, our country is a little bit overweight, so we're not missing out on the number of calories from those macronutrients. So most people not nutrient deficient with a standard American diet, right? The interesting thing is the people that they found that have a tendency to be nutrient deficient are the people that you would generally look at and say, hey, that's a really healthy person. People like physique athletes and bodybuilders. I'm really happy that Chris drew this picture over here. Apparently that's me. Look at my beard. It's a little longer. I have to grow a bit longer there. And I don't know how you knew
Cute little bikini.
that I had a red bikini. That's weird.
No, you don't want him to turn around when he's got it on.
No, it's not good. It's not good. So that's a different video. So the interesting thing is, in the case of physique athletes, oftentimes a lot of these physique athletes, bodybuilders and competitors, they will have very strict diets. You'll see them walk around with little Tupperwares of their food around the gym and stuff, and they're eating 47 times a day with a little piece of boiled chicken breast with nothing on it and like 7 green beans, and they eat that over and over again. Well, neither of those foods are good or bad, nor are the quantities of it, nor is the amount of times they eat to the day. The problem is there's no variety overall with their food. If they're only eating just those 2 types of food over and over and over through the day, they're missing out on things that might have been in other types of food. So they end up being the population, the ones that look the healthiest, can sometimes be the ones that are actually nutrient deficient. So that's a very interesting thing a lot of people don't really think about. Not saying it's good or bad. I'm not trying to badmouth those people. I myself have tried to compete in bodybuilding and I couldn't handle it because the food drove me bonkers and I had to have myself some ice cream, so I just couldn't quite get to that point. But I digress. We've got the skull and crossbones up here because the concept we're really speaking to here, the quantities of foods, right? More so than just the quality or the type of food, it's the dose that makes the poison. And when we talk about this, I've said this in many other videos that we've talked about, we'll use an example like water. I like to use water as an example because water, the most benign substance it is the giver of life. If you're stuck in the middle of the desert and dehydrated, water will keep you alive. It's the giver of life. However, on the other end of the spectrum, if you drink 5 gallons of water right now, sit down and pounded 5 gallons of water, you would probably die. Because too much water will dilute the electrolytes in your bloodstream. Not enough electrolytes, your heart can't keep pumping, and it'll stop, boom, heart attack, you're dead from water. So that makes water bad, right? Well, no, it's neither good nor bad. It's how much you consume in the given circumstance that you're in that determines the value of something. So the reality is, too much or too little of anything can be a problem. If we don't go to extremes on either end, you should be okay. And a well-balanced food intake is really going to be an optimal situation for most people. So how do we determine what's optimal for you or for me or for anybody else with a goal of, in this case, losing fat? As a trainer, when somebody says, Jason, what's the best thing to eat to lose fat? Something I say that really makes a lot of people upset, and I know Chris has been frustrated with me before. What's the best leg exercise? What's the best thing to eat in the morning? My response is pretty much the same thing every time. I'd say, well, it depends. And then I'll answer his question with a question. Well, Chris, what's your goal? What kind of activities are you going to participate in? Are you boxing today? Are you going to Orange Theory and going to take a class you didn't eat yet because you were fasting? We know how that worked out for Chris. Not good.
I did it this time.
Smart man. He learns from his mistakes. That's why I like him so much. So what kind of activities are you participating in? That should drive what kind of foods you eat. Do you have food allergies? Hey, if you're allergic to bananas, I don't recommend eating bananas, dude. Et cetera, et cetera. When do you get up to go to work? What time do you go to bed? What are you doing things in a day? If you work the graveyard shift, you should probably eat at a different time. Those things factor in. Heaven forbid you take prescription medications like you used to. Some prescription medications, you take them with grapefruit juice. It even says on the bottle, don't take with grapefruit juice. The acids and stuff inside the grapefruit juice negate the value of the prescription medication. It messes it up. Who thought grapefruit juice would mess you up, right? And your ultimate goals, right? This is what's important. If you want to pick out which foods are best for you, clean, whole foods on this side of the spectrum, or dirty foods over here that are more processed, it's really based on you, the individual. I work out, do a lot of resistance training, I do a lot of martial arts training, I use a lot of calories every day. On a daily basis, I probably burn out 5,000 calories. So guess what I need to do? I need to eat 5,000 calories just to stay the same. Do you know how hard it is to eat 5,000 calories of vegetables? It's virtually impossible. It's like a bathtub full of broccoli. Forget that. So, I purposely choose to eat dirty foods like a hamburger or a piece of pizza because it's very dense in calories and I need that for my lifestyle. Somebody that wants to lose fat, guess what? They don't need as many calories. Remember, they want less calories going in than are going out. That means they should strategically choose foods that are closer to the unprocessed whole food end of the spectrum for a couple reasons. They're usually lower in calorie density, and as we've talked about many times, and Chris uses this to advantage regularly, there's a higher thermic effect of food for whole foods, like that broccoli I was talking about. You have to chew it up and it requires energy to chew it up. You have to digest it in your stomach and break it down before it can be absorbed. Versus if I juiced that broccoli, which is weird, don't juice broccoli, that's just strange, but for this metaphor we'll go with it. The juiced broccoli is processed, it's just the concentrated sugars, all the fiber's gone, it's easy to absorb. It's a bam.
Maybe that's how you can consume that entire bathtub of broccoli.
I could take a bath in the juiced broccoli. That's weird. I look like the Hulk when I get all green like that. And my poor G-string will be green then, that's not good.
That's not good. I can call that for you.
So ultimately, your choice of foods on the spectrum of clean, whole foods, and moving over here to more processed foods, it's based on you, the individual. Don't worry about being nutrient deficient unless you're the dude in the bikini over here. You might want to have some more variety, Mr. Bodybuilder guy out there. And you're definitely not going to have to be as concerned about anything other than the calories in, calories out, and if it's negatively impacting parts of your lifestyle. Focus on you and you should be okay.
I mean, there's not much to say here. I still don't understand what the hell clean is.
I had to make something up just to try and qualify here, so I don't know.
It still comes down to the thing that we've always talked about, and the biggest thing that I've learned is eating for a purpose and what do you need to eat for. And then
Getting medals over here.
Clean, not clean, dirty, baking soda clean. It's all the same.
One of my favorite things, and you mentioned this to me the other day because you asked me this question because I think you saw a video or a magazine or something like that. You were talking about, what's that swimmer's name, the Olympic guy?
Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps.
Ah, yes, Michael Phelps. I posted that one. He used to consume 8,000 calorie, his meals for the day were 8,000 calories. He'd have entire pizzas. You'd have like 3 egg sandwiches, 2 turkey sandwiches with mayonnaise and bacon plastered all over it.
Make me hungry, dude.
You'd have pancakes, all this stuff. Most of it considered dirty.
We're talking about one of the
Not
greatest
clean.
athletes in history. More gold medals in the Olympics than probably anybody will ever achieve again. Tall, lean, ripped, muscular, in shape, incredible athlete eating dirty foods on purpose. He needed to have a lot of calories, so he ate calorie-dense foods. Another great example I like, and this could maybe be this guy here also, is The Rock. The Rock is, his entire lifestyle and his career is built on his physique as a wrestler and then now as a movie star. How he looks and how his body operates has been a big part of how he has gotten to where he is. And we've all seen that picture before. The Rock sitting at the table for breakfast with a stack of pancakes this big and eggs and bacon and sausages all over. How can he do that and not be a 5,000-pound fat guy? Because it fits in his lifestyle. He chose the foods that worked for him, both the quality, clean or dirty, whatever that is, and the quantity that works for him. These two great examples, I know they're anecdotes, just individuals like that, but they illustrate the point here. Eat based on your goals and what's working for you and your lifestyle.
So if you like eating, you want to eat certain types of foods, go exercise.
Yeah.
Well, if you move more than shit you don't want to eat.
Remember, calories out is part of this equation. If you want to have more calories going in, you can eat more food if you want to and still lose fat. You just got to move more also, right? Calories out, you're good to go.
Well, hope you enjoyed it. If you want to eat clean, go ahead. I kind of like it on the dirty side.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, buddy.
Until next week, I am the guinea pig. He is a professor. Signing off.